It's been 5 years since the start of our current decade, and the 2020s have been very eventful. Our culture continues to shift as it does, and this most normally affects our music. The first half of this decade has introduced us to many new people and an assortment of new sounds, and today I want to share my favorite albums of the decade, excluding the ones I've already talked about on this channel, but also kind of including them, and talk about the ones that have defined this decade so far, and the ones I believe will define the rest of the decade. The first three albums, in my opinion, are some of the most important albums of this century, and have steadily influenced the sound of this decade. I've listened to Charli for a long time. My uncle used to play her a ton when I was growing up, so I've heard my fair share of Charli. But I think her last three drops have solidified her as one of the best artists of this generation. Specifically, How I'm Feeling Now, which is my favorite out of the three. I grouped it in with Brat though, because I see Brat as a refined version of the sound that How I'm Feeling Now had. But the appeal of How I'm Feeling Now was that the sound wasn't refined, or that throughout the album the sound refines itself. But throughout the album, that brokenness is what made it so addicting, despite the fact that it reconstructs itself. The music isn't for a group, it's for you to experience alone. The title is very fitting because I think the album is a mirror. It will reflect whatever mood that you currently feel. It helps me figure out my own feelings, which is something I don't think I've ever really seen before. The emotional side of this album is amplified because its making took place during quarantine at the beginning of this decade. And Charli said when she announced the project, she wanted her process to be as open as possible. This transparency was just on full display with weekly YouTube updates, notes, screenshots, Instagram live streams, the whole works. This is true experimental music. How I'm Feeling Now, and Charli's music in general, is the music representation of our digital era. It will and has defined our era of music. It deserves its own video, and it will most likely get one. It might not hit with everyone though, which is what I think makes Brat such a brilliant album. Brat takes the closed off, isolated, quarantine inspired sound and broadens it, showing off more than Charli's emotional heart. Brat is the album meant to listen to with other people. 7 Years and Pink Diamond are my favorite songs for How I'm Feeling Now, and for Brat, Von Dutch and 360. It's perfect drug anthem music. Electronic and electric. Speaking of drug albums, this album exists to me as a substitute for dopamine. There's just never been an album that I've listened to that is so upfront and in your face about its existence. There's literally no denying this album's influence in music at all. The entire underground scene that we've seen come up in rap has been influenced by this album, from Osama Sun to Che, who is also very clearly inspired by bands like Crystal Castles. Carti's influence is very evident, despite both artists going into their own sound, of course. This album changed the course of rap music as we know it, and I don't think that's crazy to say at all. I firmly believe that music will have the same effect. Now that the album has finally come out, I can firmly say it was worth the fucking wait. Yes, it's not cohesive, but the music itself makes me forget about that fact. It's exactly what I wanted, minus the inclusion of songs that we already heard like Evil Jordan, Hood by Air, and Ketamine, and even I guess Mojo Jojo since that leaked, but I won't really count that since there was new parts of it like the Kendrick feature. I've generally just never loved songs more than I love Cocaine Nose and Opium Baby right now. It's just addicting music. This album will most definitely be cemented in our culture as one of the most hyped albums ever, that's for sure. And if Baby Boy does come out, which I kind of doubt, it will also have the same effect as these two albums, I'm very sure of it. Over and Die for Guy, my favorite songs on Whole Lotta Red, and like I said, Cocaine Nose, Opium Baby, and Pop Out are my favorite songs on music. This album might have some influence that I haven't really found because I'm not that tapped into the whole UK scene, but despite it not explicitly having any influence on anything I've seen, I think it's one of the most heavy and emotional albums I've ever heard. This album and the next one I think are just staple albums for African immigrants, specifically Nigerians such as myself. Just seeing Dave and the next artist succeed make me so happy, and just being able to hear this quality of music from my people makes me shed a tear. Heart Attack is one of the most important songs I've ever heard. If you're an immigrant, specifically an African immigrant, listen to Heart Attack. Dave is an amazing artist, and this album in particular will go down as one of the best albums from the UK in this decade. Probably the best album from the UK this decade. Heart Attack is obviously my favorite song, just a masterpiece. Maybe people won't understand this pick for right now, but this album is just as important for the same reasons as Wait was, but obviously a lot less deep and chooses a more upfront approach with its messaging. But it's exactly what the title says. It's swag music, and I know Oi will be even better. The UK is in extremely good hands. Double Life and Pockets Full of Money Got My Trousers Falling Down are my favorite songs. Is this album being here a surprise? Because it shouldn't be. It's probably one of my favorite mainstream pop albums, and An added bonus is it comes from one of the actors I used to adore as a kid, with Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo making music. Pop is just in extremely good hands. Bizarre and Girl Meets World, I believe Sabrina Carpenter was on, are just shows that I loved as a kid, which made my mother think I was gay, but that's besides the point. It's real feel-good music and one of the most surprising first listens I've had this entire decade. Hey Taylor Swift, you can step aside. We have Sabrina Carpenter now. My favorite song is Juno. That's real music. Now, before I say anything, I'm just here for the music. I have no idea the whole drama shit with New Jeans. I have no idea. I'm just here for the music. Get Up is a mystical project. Definitely my favorite K-pop project to come out this decade and probably ever. And New Jeans, despite being extremely short-lived, is one of my favorite groups and probably my favorite group. They have this cloud-like feeling to their music that is just so hard to replicate. It's like doing a marathon inside of clouds. My favorite song is New Jeans or ETA. I have a whole video on this album, so I won't say much here, but this album is just a mix of everything good. Bia Badoobie is one of the best talents this generation has to offer, and we should really be grateful that she graced our ears with such luscious, amazing, sexy, fantastic music. My favorite song is California. If you're a man, turn that fucking Clara on. The experience of Sling is just like experiencing the peace of a calm mountain with slight rain in the background, and it's so good, man. It's so good. Not really much I have to say besides I love Clara and her music is insanely peaceful. It's the perfect music to listen to while being like on a hammock. Does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that should make sense. Just never been in one, but it seems like it would fit her music really well. My favorite song is Amoeba. This is one of those albums where you just listen to it in awe the entire time. Pink Panthers is one of the most unique artists I think we've seen in a really long time, and this debut project is definitely one to be remembered. Her and Fang really just mastered their aesthetics really perfectly, even though they're on the same spectrum, I would say, but obviously on different sides. I will never forget my phase where all I did was listen to Pink Panthers. I'm always forever gonna be a fan. Favorite song is Last Valentine's or Pain. And if you have a problem with the Pain selection, I don't really care. Popular songs are allowed to be good. If aliens wanted to perfectly study the human psyche, they would listen to this project. I have rarely ever seen such a carefully thought out and executed piece of music in my entire life. I just love Echo 2K, man. I think he's vital. I think Drain Gang in like totality is just incredibly vital to music. In aesthetic and quality, I hope he sticks around, and obviously I hope he drops again. I really hope he does. Between this and E, he will always be an all-timer in my book. Jealousy Song is my favorite. Now, I knew about Mike for a while, but never really took my time to listen to him until a couple of weeks ago. And man, just a brilliant artist. And out of the albums I listened to, this is most definitely my favorite of his. One of the most exciting listens I've had the pleasure of having this year. Mike's voice is just insane, and his flows are just crazy. Like it's so smooth and enchanting. And also that news about him beating up that one guy that has sexual assault charges, he's my goat. I don't know what else to say. My favorite songs are African Freak Sex Fantasy and 98. To close out this video, I wanted to include an album by one of my favorite artists, which came out at the beginning of this decade and is incredibly dear to me. Almost There is probably my favorite Lucky album currently, but it changes almost every day. This album specifically, though, is very special first listen, so please, if you haven't checked this album out, please check it out. It will change your life. Check out all the albums on this list, obviously, but this one specifically. It's just one of those albums I play in like my 2-week Minecraft phase and really ponder about life. I love it so much, man. Real peak music. My favorite song is Ouch Omen. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for all the support. I appreciate it. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me. You told that to 7-year-old me, and I think I might explode. But, yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a good day.